Good evening, guys. Today is October 16th, Monday. Hope you guys are doing well. Strong positive market today with the NASDAQ leading the way, 1.2% up, 160 points. Extremely nice candle. But overall, I'm still cautious. It has to go past this resistance of the 13,700 for me before I actually get a little more excited, but it's making good progress. I think it's been a chop and churn kind of consistently chop and churn kind of a week, and last few months have been similar as well. Last 2 months actually has been fairly similar, but it's making progress. So I think I'm going to go with let's continue to see if there's good progress being made. The S&P 500, on the other hand, was up as well today, up about 1%, 45 points for the day. Actually facing a little bit of resistance in this zone, so I would hope that it goes past this zone. S&P 500 is a little bit more constructive to me right now than the NASDAQ is. So this is a little bit of a stronger index. And then the Dow Jones actually was very strong today as well. Did pretty well, up almost about close to 315 points. Very constructive candle, breaking out of the resistance area that I had marked. So I'm looking forward to this week. Should hopefully power high depending on how earnings do. Two big earnings this week, Netflix and also Tesla. So I'm going to wait and watch for how those earnings do. One of the stocks that came up on the radar today was because of an induction to the S&P 500 index, which is Lululemon Athletica. Lululemon, the ticker symbol is LULU, Lulu. Most of you guys probably know the company. They make apparel, women's apparel, shoes, clothes, athletic wear. Very strong results. If you look at it overall, the company has been on an absolute tear over the last decade or so. Company is based in Canada. So let's go through our 5-step process, see why it turned up on the radar and what we think of it. Start with the financials and start definitely with the income statement on an annualized basis. The company has been growing revenue very steadily from 2016, 2.3 billion to 8 billion. So almost 4 times, not quite 4 times, but 3 times over the last 7 years. Tremendous growth, I would say. This has been absolutely very, very good. Consistently growing at 20% plus and then going down a little bit, 40% in 2021, reducing that to about 30%, but very, very strong growth. And roughly about 60% margins, seems like 50 to 60% margins, I'm sorry, and a very good 11 to 12% net income. So very strong growth overall. On a quarterly basis, growth seems to have slowed from 30% down to 18%, but the new big deal is they're going to be hopefully added to the S&P 500 because I think one of the companies, if I'm not mistaken, has been dropped out. So S&P 500 most likely going to add Lululemon is the reason why they're showing up so well. From a balance sheet perspective, roughly about on an annualized basis, they about $5-6 billion of cash, about $1 billion in total debt. So not bad at all. I like it. I like it a lot. The company obviously has been doing extremely well. If you look at the valuations and other related statistics, price to earnings is about 47. That's a little bit high, but it's been growing very well. 30%, 20% growth for a company doing 8 billion. Very, very strong. Price to sales of 5 is also a little bit high, but this is a company that's been executing very well. So let's go look at the chart and see what the technicals tell us. This is the highest level chart. We start from here. So you can see that it's built a strong base, stage number 1, very good stage number 2, a little bit of a decline in stage number 4, then a stage 2 again, a steep decline. Then I wouldn't necessarily say this has been a pattern, but just look at how it's consolidating in this range. So if you've bought it in the 21 time frame till about now 23, roughly about 2 years, it's gone nowhere, but down. So this is building a good base. So you could technically call this a very strong base building kind of a pattern, but still early. Let's look at what it's done on a weekly basis as opposed to monthly basis. So that's the nice little hollow base that it's built. So let's draw some resistance and support. Obviously, this is a good area of resistance. This is where it's been for quite a bit of time. This is another area of resistance support where it can actually get a lot of customers coming in. This was a very good area of resistance. It's broken through that resistance. See how many times it's touched this. And so now if you look at another area of support, this might likely be, then given the number of times it's touched this area, 353, that looks like a good area of resistance, sorry, support as well. So that might be on a weekly basis. Let's go look now on a daily basis. Okay, so on a daily basis, it's broken through a key area of resistance. It's probably a reason why it's been showing up so well. And I'm going to move up the support. It actually get quite a bit of support in this, and this is a good earnings, a good gap that it's created on the high. So consolidated a little bit in this zone, somewhere in the 360 zone to the 200, 405 zone, and now jumped up. Because of the addition, what you usually find in the personality of the stock is on the daily chart, see how consistently 3-4 days in a row, it tends to do fairly well and a good jump up because of earnings. 3-4 days in a row, good jump up. So it doesn't tend to have a lot, except in this case, a lot of red, but tends to follow a very consistent pattern. If it starts on a tear, it tends to continue on that direction. So I would expect this stock to actually, if I wanted to play it, this is a very good play. So I would expect a little bit going down over the next couple of days, or like to enter in the 405, maybe even a little bit lower in the 402 zone, enter the 405, 402 zone, hold it for a little bit. And then where would I expect the stock to go? If I go on the weekly chart, I would expect that the next major stop should be at least in the 430 zone. Yeah, so that looks like a good point. Usually, if you remember what happened to Tesla when it got into the S&P 500, just took on a tear. So I would expect that somewhere in the 405, 400 zone, I should be able to buy it, go up to 430, gives you almost about a 7% gain. That would be a good way to be able to play the stock. It's a very well-performing stock, very strong fundamentals. I really like it. So watch Lululemon over the next couple of weeks to make it all the way to 434 would be my suggestion. Thank you very much for following. Please, if you look at the last one, I wanted to mention the moving averages look solid, and so does the relative strength. So please follow my channel, subscribe to the channel, like and share. Appreciate it very much.